What are the top 8 habits that are silently lowering your lifetime after the age of 60? And how can you stop them? Advice for the elderly. Have you ever considered the possibility that the routines you follow on a daily basis are shortening the length of your life? It is commonly believed that the most significant occurrences are those that have a significant impact on our health. To tell you the truth, however, the behaviors that we engage in on a daily basis are the ones that, in the long run, tend to cause the most damage. Because you are not experiencing any symptoms at the present, you might believe that everything is going well for you. However, some of the behaviors that are the most destructive are those that are comfortable and known to the individual. They gradually become a part of your routine, and over the course of time, they subtly weaken the foundation of your well-being from the inside out. The purpose of this video is to examine 8 typical behaviors that may be reducing your longevity. These behaviors are ones that many people in their latter years carry with them without giving them a second thought. The weight of each of these habits is greater than you might anticipate. And it ranges from insufficient sleep patterns to routines that are neglected on a daily basis. It is not our intention to frighten you. We are here to assist you in regaining control of your health, confidence, and vitality by guiding you through each step along the process. It is possible that some of these will come as a surprise to you, while others may be things that you have silently accepted as normal, despite the fact that they merit a second viewing. Stay attentive until the very end because the last few behaviors that we will talk about could completely alter the way that you think about the decisions you make on a daily basis. Furthermore, one of the most essential benefits of becoming aware of these patterns is that it will enable you to make minor adjustments that could potentially add years to your life. That is not merely something that is pleasant to hear. This is a present that you can offer to yourself beginning right now. 8. Sitting for an excessive amount of time without taking breaks. In this day and age, sitting has emerged as one of the most hazardous behaviors that people must engage in. We rarely discuss it, and for many people who are in their later years, it has become a routine that they go through without giving it much attention. Whether it's sitting for long periods of time in front of the television, having lengthy talks at the dining table, or scrolling through the tablet while sitting in a chair that you enjoy. The practice of sitting for extended periods of time has more serious repercussions than the majority of people are aware of. In spite of the fact that you may feel completely good at the moment, activities that appear to be innocuous relaxation might actually be detrimental to your health. There is a correlation between sitting for an extended period of time without moving and a decrease in circulation, a weakening of muscles, and a slowdown in metabolism. Your chance of developing cardiovascular disease, blood clots, type 2 diabetes, and even certain malignancies may increase as a result of this. In a more subtle way, it can impair your posture, the flexibility of your joints, and your general energy levels. It's not only about the things that sitting stops you from doing. It's also about the things that sitting does to your body when you're experiencing those things. When your body is denied the ability to move, the systems within it begin to degenerate in a manner that is not immediately noticeable. Consider the case of Frank, a retired bus driver who was 76 years old and delighted in his time at home after spending decades on the road while working. He had worked hard to earn his rest, but this rest consisted of him sitting on the couch for extended periods of time and watching classic westerns. As time went on, he began to experience legs that felt heavy, his back began to hurt more frequently, and his energy level decreased, in spite of the fact that he attributed it to the natural process of aging. Frank was surprised to discover anything when his physician suggested that he stand and walk for a mere 5 minutes every hour. After a few weeks, he experienced a sense of increased strength, clarity, and decreased stiffness throughout the day. There are times when the danger of sitting for an excessive amount of time is not immediately apparent, in spite of the fact that you might not be aware of its presence. It has an impact on your digestion, lung capacity, and even your mood. Inactivity, especially when accompanied with isolation, is a common factor that contributes to the worsening of depression and low energy levels. Moreover, here is something that the majority of people do not even consider doing for a short period of time: standing or walking releases enzymes that aid in the breakdown of fat that is present in the bloodstream. Because of this, your body is able to process meals more effectively, your cholesterol levels will improve, and your heart will receive some additional assistance. For example, if you have acquired the habit of sitting in your favorite chair for hours at a time, you should consider movement not as a chore but rather as a gift that you can give yourself. This can be accomplished simply by rising up and moving around a little bit more frequently. It does not have to be difficult to understand. What is required is that it be constant. To tell you the truth, you have earned the right to continue to feel empowered, aware, and energized far into your older years. To begin, you should prioritize mobility over stillness whenever you have the opportunity to do so. Skipping sleep on a regular basis is the 7th point. Taking shortcuts when it comes to getting enough sleep is one of the most risky behaviors that happens to go unnoticed most of the time. It is common for people who are in their later years to fall into the trap of thinking that getting less sleep is a natural part of the aging process, or that it is less of an issue now that they are retired or no longer working full-time. Nevertheless, not getting enough sleep on a regular basis is not simply about feeling a bit weary. It triggers a chain reaction in almost all of the systems that are present in your body. The disruption or shortening of your sleep can have a negative impact on your heart, brain, and metabolism, all of which are affected. Your likelihood of developing cardiovascular disease, stroke, memory loss, and possibly some types of cancer will grow as a result of this over time. If, for instance, you noticed that you were waking up frequently during the night and dismissing it as something that was unavoidable, then that pattern might be more than simply a nuisance. It is possible that your body is sending you a warning signal. Cortisol is a stress hormone that wears down your immune system and accelerates the aging process. Research has revealed that those who sleep for less than 6 hours each night on a regular basis have much greater amounts of cortisol. It is not just the amount of sleep that is important either. It is possible that not receiving enough hours of sleep can be just as damaging as not getting enough quality sleep. Waking up frequently, having trouble falling asleep, or sleeping lightly during the night. Consider the case of Harold, a widower who is 72 years old and used to take great pride in his ability to remain working well into the small hours of the night. In order to maintain his routine, he would stay up late watching the news or skimming through the headlines, then sleep for only a few hours and wake up early. For a number of years, he believed that this made him more productive. However, when he began misplacing his appointments and having difficulty keeping his energy levels up during the day, his physician made the connection between his lack of sleep and his poor health. The exhaustion was not solely the result of becoming older. It was an indication that his body was not spending enough time repairing and resetting itself. When you sleep, your brain cleans itself up and gets rid of proteins that can damage your memory and cause your cognitive abilities to decline. Your body creates hormones that regulate everything from your appetite to the health of your bones. And your heart rate slows down, your blood pressure stays stable, and your heart rate decreases. If you miss out on this crucial time, it would be the same as if you skipped out on the maintenance on your car for years. Up until the point that something major goes down, everything could appear to be in order on the surface. One would not disregard an engine light that is present in their vehicle. Why would you do anything like that with your body? When someone is well rested, they carry themselves in a distinct manner. People who walk with greater stability, think more clearly, and respond more easily to stress are more likely to be successful. If you have been telling yourself that you do not require a significant amount of sleep anymore, I strongly suggest that you challenge that notion in a methodical manner. It's possible that your body has been attempting to communicate with you for quite some time now. And it's possible that if you listen to it, you could add a few more years to your life that are full of happiness. I would appreciate it if you could use the 7th comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. The sixth point is to disregard persistent stress. When stress is not managed, it has a wide-ranging impact on more than simply how you feel. It changes the way that your body functions. Because of the passage of time, the persistent hum of tension in your chest or the tightness in your shoulders will eventually become more than just being uncomfortable. It leads to inflammation, high blood pressure, a diminished immune system, and a cellular aging process that is accelerated. The vast majority of people who are in their latter years have acquired the ability to overcome their fears and to keep them to themselves. On the other hand, what appears to be resilience on the surface might actually steal away years from your life if you do nothing to address the stress in your life. When many of today's seniors were growing up, it was not recommended for them to express their stress. Words and phrases such as, "just get on with it," and "don't make a fuss," were frequently used. Over the course of several decades, those messages became ingrained. The issue is that the individual's body does not forget what it is experiencing. Despite the fact that you have acquired the ability to conceal your stress, your nervous system is still active. When cortisol levels remain high, your heart is working very hard. During your sleep, you feel less heavy, your digestion becomes more sluggish, and in the end, things start to fall apart. Not all at once but gradually and in a quiet manner. Take, for example, Evelyn, a grandma who is 80 years old and who always appeared to be peaceful on the surface. She never grumbled, always had a grin on her face, and put the needs of others ahead of her own obligations. Her doctor, however, inquired about her daily routine after observing that her blood pressure was gradually increasing and that her stomach problems were not showing any signs of improvement. It came out that Evelyn was under a great deal of stress due to her grown children, her finances, and her health. Nevertheless, she did not like to bother anyone by discussing these experiences. As soon as she started writing down her emotions in a journal and started going to a senior support group on a weekly basis, her symptoms started to improve. Her numbers and, more importantly, her sense of peace both improved as a result of her efforts. There are times when stress does not manifest itself as panic. There are moments when it appears as though you are overthinking, that you are easily annoyed, or that you are carrying stress in your jaw or within your lower back. And there are times when it appears to be nothing more than sitting calmly while your mind is racing. Prolonged exposure to stress causes the brain to age, makes it more difficult to concentrate, and raises the risk of developing dementia. The healing process is slowed down, and your defenses against infections and inflammation are weakened by its presence. One of the most common misconceptions about stress is that it is only an emotional issue. Nevertheless, it is also a physical issue. One thing that can be helpful is not pretending that it does not exist but rather knowing how to process it. This could take the form of picking up the phone and phoning a friend to discuss your concerns, going for a walk outside in the fresh air, or performing breathing exercises first thing in the morning. Permitting yourself to experience whatever it is that you are feeling without passing judgment on it could be what it means to experience a sense of relaxation. It is not necessary to rectify every issue. In many cases, simply admitting the load that you are carrying is enough to start the process of releasing it from your body. An old proverb states that the body is the one that maintains the score. This holds especially true when it comes to the issue of stress. You may think you've adapted to years of pressure and worry, but your cells remember, your heart recalls, and if you want those portions of you to keep performing well, they need relief, not just once, but often. That is not lack of strength. Such is the wisdom. One of the most effective things you can do for your long-term health is to acknowledge the weight that you carry and make the decision to set it down. No. 5. Eating an excessive amount of processed meals. When you are cooking for one person or when you are feeling low on energy, it is easy to slip into the habit of going for what is quick. familiar, and delectable. However, the reality is that consuming a diet consisting primarily of processed foods can stealthily deteriorate your health with each and every bite. Not only are these quick goods insufficient in terms of nutrition, but they are also frequently loaded with preservatives, salt, and added sugars. They are a direct contributor to chronic inflammation, weight gain, and organ damage that occurs over a long period of time. Moreover, because the consequences gradually accumulate, a great number of individuals do not become aware of the damage until it has already been done. There are many different kinds of processed foods. The obvious ones, such as frozen dinners and boxed snacks, are not the only ones that are included. Even foods that appear to be completely safe, such as sweetened cereals, canned soups, flavored crackers, and certain types of deli meats, may include substances that are not readily apparent and that can upset the natural equilibrium of your body. These kinds of foods have a tendency to cause a surge in your blood sugar, an increase in your cholesterol, and an overdose of artificial chemicals in your system. In the long run, this persistent strain can increase the likelihood of developing diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and even cognitive loss. Let's talk about someone like Carl, a widower who was 69 years old and wouldn't be considered a very good cook. He relied on pre-packaged meals and takeout for the majority of his evenings after the death of his wife. Because of this, it was simpler, quicker, and provided him with one less thing to think about. However, when he started having conditions such as acid reflux, joint pain, and difficulty sleeping, his physician suggested that he abstain from eating meals that were highly processed for a period of 2 weeks. It was impressive to see the difference. He experienced an improvement in his digestion, had a lighter and more alert feeling, and even the pain in his joints started to lessen. The goal here is not to completely eliminate all foods that provide comfort. The issue is one of awareness. Being aware of the fact that food provides more than just fuel for your body, but also information for it, is essential. Your body receives information from each and every component. Artificial additives have the potential to cause hormonal confusion. A high salt intake might cause an increase in blood pressure. Energy crashes and insulin resistance are 2 potential side effects of consuming refined carbohydrates. Furthermore, the more these foods take up the majority of your meals, the more they crowd out the nutrients that your cells actually require in order to function and repair themselves. Taking baby steps is something you should think about doing if you discover that processed meals make up the majority of your daily consumption. You should replace one of the packaged items with a new one. Instead of adding sweetened yogurt, you should add a handful of berries. Make a straightforward soup instead of opening a can of soup. These seemingly insignificant adjustments have a significant impact, particularly when they are implemented on a regular basis. Your heart, brain, and immune system are all protected by the vitamins, antioxidants, and fiber that are found in whole meals. Some examples of whole foods include fresh vegetables, whole grains, nuts, fish, and lean protein sources. There is a widespread misconception that your body cannot recover from the effects of aging. It is not the case. However, you should expect a favorable response from your body even when you are in your 70s and 80s if you provide it with better tools. You will identify it in your energy levels, in the way you sleep, in the way you feel, and probably most significantly, in the way you feel in charge of your life. You are not only adding years to your life when you choose food that nourishes rather than depletes, but you are also adding life to the years that you have lived. I would appreciate it if you could use the 5th comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. Avoiding social interaction is the 4th and last point. Sadness is not usually the outward manifestation of loneliness. There are instances when it appears to be silence. such as when one is sitting in a silent room with the television on for background noise, or when one has gone days without taking part in a conversation that is meaningful. For a significant number of people who are getting older, engaging in social interaction progressively becomes something that is optional and may be postponed until another day. On the other hand, this lack of connection can, over time, take a toll that is much more profound than the majority of people are aware of. One of the most underrated behaviors that can subtly result in a shorter lifespan is the practice of avoiding regular interaction with other people. It has been demonstrated through research that chronic loneliness can increase the risk of premature death to the same degree as smoking or being overweight. Because connection is a fundamental requirement for human beings, the way in which your brain operates, the way in which your immune system reacts, and even the rate at which your body heals are all impacted by it. There is a correlation between not engaging with other people on a regular basis and an increased risk of experiencing cognitive decline, depression, and a diminished resistance to illness. But in contrast to the symptoms of physical illnesses, the signals of social isolation can go unrecognized until the damage has already been done. Consider the case of Margaret, a woman who was 81 years old and had resided in the same residence for more than half a century. It became less frequent for her to receive invites to social functions after the death of her husband and the relocation of her children. At first, she persuaded herself that she enjoyed the tranquility and ease of the environment. Nevertheless, as the months grew into years, she became aware that she rarely laughed, rarely shared tales, and rarely felt seen. It wasn't until her church group began checking in on a more consistent basis that she saw a difference. She experienced an improvement in her motivation to take care of herself. Her energy returned, and her spirits were elevated as a result of the chats. Her physique was not the thing that changed, rather, it was her connection to other people. It is not necessary to hold large meetings or make many phone calls in order to engage in social interaction. The act of simply contacting a friend to say hello, joining a book club or craft circle, or speaking with a neighbor while out for a morning stroll are all examples of basic ways to engage in social interaction. Even brief associations release feel-good chemicals in the brain like oxytocin and serotonin. These natural mood boosters can lower inflammation, support heart health, and improve sleep. In addition to this, they improve your capacity to deal with stress and provide you with something special to look forward to on a daily basis. Talking to other people also has a hidden benefit that you should be aware of. You tell your narrative to others. While doing so, you bring to mind your identity, your values, and the experiences you've had. This form of self-expression helps you maintain your sense of self-worth and maintains your memory sharp. The perception that they no longer have anything to contribute is a common reason for older persons to withdraw from participation. On the other hand, that is not even close to being accurate. You have the ability to be a gift to another person by your presence, your wisdom, and your kindness. In addition, when you give of yourself, you are rewarded with something that is irreplaceable. Consider what the effects of just one brief interaction every day could be on your spirit if you have been spending the majority of your days by yourself. It is not necessary for it to be profound or spectacular. To put it simply, it must be true. You are nourished in ways that no drug or meal could ever be able to provide. The sheer act of reaching out, of hearing another voice, and of being heard also nurtures you. At the end of the day, maintaining connections may be one of the habits that is most beneficial to their lives. Third, not drinking enough water in your daily routine. In spite of the fact that it may appear to be a straightforward matter, one of the most common behaviors that can gradually deteriorate your health as you get older is not drinking enough water. It is a common misconception among people of advanced age that experiencing decreased thirst is a natural consequence of aging. And in some respects, it is. On the other hand, just because you feel less thirsty does not indicate that your body is no longer in need of fluids. As a result, you might not be able to notice when it does. In addition, the repercussions can gradually accumulate if your body does not receive the appropriate amount of water on a daily basis. Your body relies on water for every major function, from digestion and temperature regulation to joint lubrication and cognitive efficiency. Water is essential for optimal health. Your blood will become more viscous. Your kidneys will have to work harder, and your risk of developing kidney stones and urinary tract infections will increase if you do not consume enough of it. You may experience feelings of vertigo more frequently, get more easily fatigued, and become aware of the onset of brain fog during discussions or even basic tasks. Modifications in mood, eating, and sleep patterns can be brought on by even minor dehydration. Let's take a look at someone like George, a man who was 75 years old and took great satisfaction in his independence. Since he did not enjoy making a fuss over things, he frequently neglected to drink water, unless it was included in the meal. Over the course of time, he became aware that he was experiencing constipation more frequently, that he was experiencing lightheadedness when standing up, and that he was having difficulty maintaining his concentration when reading or watching television. His physician recommended that he keep a record of the amount of water he consumed for a period of several weeks. And sure enough, he was only drinking around half of what his body required. When he began drinking more water on a regular basis, he saw a significant improvement. He reported feeling more stable, having a clearer thinking, and even experiencing fewer aches and pains. Consuming a large number of glasses at once is not enough to maintain proper hydration. In other words, you should make it a consistent component of your day. The simple act of drinking a glass of water when you wake up, another glass with each meal, and a few sips in between meals might bring about a sense of equilibrium. If the idea of drinking plain water does not appeal to you, you can make it more delightful by adding slices of lemon or cucumber, or even just a dash of juice. Additionally, soups, fruits such as melons and oranges, and herbal teas are all beverages that contribute to the amount of fluids that you consume. It is of the utmost importance to pay attention to the little cues that your body provides you with. Symptoms include as dry mouth, headaches, muscle cramps, or urine that is black in color. You are receiving subtle nudges, which are warning signals that indicate you are running low on one of the most fundamental essentials in existence. Try not to wait until you start to feel thirsty. There is already a state of distress in your body at that point. Consider water to be your personal caretaker on the inside. It removes toxins from your body, provides cushioning for your joints, and ensures that everything is operating well behind the scenes. Consuming an adequate amount of water may appear to be of little significance when compared to other behaviors that also have an impact on your longevity. But that simplicity is what makes it so powerful. Changing it is not difficult. You have the ability to control it. In addition, it has a significant influence on how you feel on a daily basis as well as how your body adapts to the passage of time. Maintaining proper hydration is not simply about ease of living today. Your long-term vitality and resilience will be improved as a result of this investment. It would be helpful if you could leave a comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. The second place, ignoring the need for routine medical examinations. A lot of people who are older believe that if they are feeling fine, there is no reason for them to go to the doctor. Why bother fixing something that doesn't appear to be broken? However, here is the reality. There are times when the most perilous conditions are also the most peaceful. A number of conditions, including high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, renal difficulties in their early stages, and even certain malignancies, frequently manifest themselves with little or no visible symptoms. In addition, if these problems are not identified at an early stage, they may continue to develop without drawing attention until they have caused irreparable harm that could have been avoided, or at the very least more effectively managed with prompt care. One of the most widespread misconceptions particularly among older people, is that the only time to visit a physician is when something is not feeling right. But that belief may end up costing you. Preventive care is provided for the purpose of identifying potential problems before they become more serious. There is a window into what is going on beneath the surface that may be gained through routine checkups, lab testing, screenings, and conversations with a medical practitioner. You might feel active and alert, yet still be carrying hazards that only a blood test or a BP cuff can show. Think of someone like Alice, a 78-year-old woman who stayed active and ate properly. She had abstained from going to the doctor for 3 years because she did not want to be a nuisance and she believed that she was healthy enough. However, following a small fall that caused her to attend the hospital, examinations revealed that she had osteoporosis that had not been detected and that her blood pressure was raised. A wake-up call was what it was. She recovered control of her health by making a few adjustments to her lifestyle and by switching to a different drug regimen. She later stated that the true gift was not the diagnosis, but rather the opportunity to take action before things became much more severe. You shouldn't overreact when you go in for regular exams. Being well-informed and having a distinct understanding of what your body requires as it ages are the goals of these programs. This involves keeping track of levels of cholesterol, blood sugar, kidney function, and bone density, as well as ensuring that immunizations and screenings such as mammograms and colonoscopies are up to date. Every appointment is an opportunity to make course corrections, to identify and address minor imbalances before they develop into major issues. It's similar to performing routine services on an automobile. It is possible that you will not become aware of the wear and tear on the vehicle until anything on the road breaks down if you do not look under the hood. And let us not overlook the strength that comes with having a calm state of mind. It provides you with a feeling of control when you have completed your tests, when you have discussed your condition with a medical professional, when you are aware of your numbers and comprehend what they indicate. You no longer need to be concerned or ponder at the back of your mind about the situation. On the contrary, you are endowed with the ability to make more informed choices, both large and small, regarding the way you live each day. Having such clarity can help you feel less anxious and allow you to take pleasure in life to its fullest. You might want to think about scheduling an appointment if it has been quite some time since your last checkup. Because maintaining one's health is something that is worth the effort, not because there is something wrong. Your long-term self will be grateful to you, and those who care about you will express their gratitude to you as well. There is more to taking care of your health than simply extending your lifespan. It is about living a better life, with less regrets and more freedom all around. First and foremost, smoking or drinking excessively. Certain behaviors are well known to be harmful. Nonetheless, they continue to be practiced due to the extent to which they are ingrained in one's daily routine. Instances such as smoking and drinking to excess are two of the most prevalent examples. For a significant number of elderly people, these behaviors started decades ago, which is a significant amount of time before the long-term hazards were fully acknowledged. The patterns had already been established by the time the scientific community caught up with them. Routines that serve to alleviate stress, foster social bonds, or are merely habits. However, regardless of how long you have been smoking or drinking heavily, the damage that they inflict continues to accumulate with each and every puff, glass, and day that they are allowed to continue until they are stopped. Smoking is one of the major preventable causes of mortality among people all over the world, and it has an effect on almost every organ in the body. It causes harm to the skin, weakens the lungs, and makes the arteries more rigid. Additionally, it inhibits the immune system. Over the course of time, it raises the likelihood that you may suffer from a heart attack, a stroke, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and further forms of cancer. Although there are individuals who are able to persuade themselves that it is too late to quit smoking, the reality is that quitting smoking, even when you are in your 70s or 80s, can significantly improve your health. Your circulatory system will improve within a few weeks, beginning within a few months, your lung function will start to improve. Your likelihood of developing heart disease begins to decrease within a year. Heavy drinking is associated with its own unique set of risks. Even if drinking a glass of wine or beer once in a while might not represent a significant risk, drinking alcohol on a regular basis and in excessive amounts can put strain on the liver, cause sleep disturbances, cloud your thinking, and increase the likelihood of developing high blood pressure, liver disease, and falling. In particular, when it is taken to numb feelings of loneliness or emotional distress, it can also contribute to the development of depression. The consumption of alcohol is a common technique for many elderly people to pass the time or alleviate discomfort. But in the long run, it consumes a great deal more than it provides. Take, for example, Raymond, a retired mechanic who is 74 years old and smokes a pack of cigarettes every day. He has been doing this for about 40 years, and he finishes each night with 2 glasses of whiskey. Following an episode of pneumonia that kept him in the hospital, his physician presented him with a choice. Either he should continue the habit or he should try to extend his life. He began by making gradual adjustments, such as gradually decreasing his consumption, switching from drinking alcohol to drinking herbal tea at night, and attending a local support group. The transformation did not occur overnight, but within a year, he experienced an improvement in his breathing. His mood became more stable, and he reported that for the first time in years, he felt positive about the future again. The issue is not one of guilt. The issue is one of opportunity. The physique of a human being is exceptionally robust. Even after being damaged for decades, it possesses an incredible capacity to repair when given the opportunity to do so. Quitting or reducing the amount of time you spend engaging in these behaviors will not only add years to your life, but it will also add clarity, energy, and dignity to those years. The ability to move through the day with greater ease, sleep more peacefully, and enjoy the time you spend with family and friends with a clearer mind and a stronger body are all benefits that you receive from this. If these routines have been a part of your life for a significant amount of time, the prospect of change may be scary to you. However, the beginning of any trip begins with a single choice. Perhaps it's reducing the number of drinks you consume on a weekly basis by 1. Or perhaps you might try using nicotine patches instead. Or perhaps you should phone a helpline or talk to your primary care physician. It doesn't matter what the step is. Taking it today could mean that you'll be able to celebrate more birthdays, participate in more holidays, and experience more days that are just plain enjoyable to live. At the end of the day, that is the thing that truly matters. As we get to the end of this video, I would like to encourage you to take a moment of silence to contemplate what you have just listened to. Which of these 8 routines did you immediately recognize? Which of these ones made you feel something else? A recollection? A cause for concern? Or perhaps even a feeling of optimism from the realization that it is not too late to make a change? In point of fact, you are not the only one. Because of the hectic, comfortable, or overwhelming nature of life, a great number of people continue to engage in these behaviors. This is not because they do not care about their health. Nevertheless, awareness is a gift. The fact that you have made the effort to acquire knowledge is the first step toward regaining your vitality. And you have already taken that step. You don't have to completely transform your life in a single day. Begin with a single adjustment. 1 glass of water in total. Just a single phone call. 1 hour of more sleep time. The influence of seemingly insignificant choices made on a regular basis adds up to more than the majority of people realize. Even if you are an older person, you still have the potential to make positive changes to your health regardless of your age. Even if your body is becoming older, you still have a significant amount of control over it. Keep in mind that you have a significant amount of power over the situation. If you only take away one thing from this day, it should be that your life is something that you should make an investment in. You are important. You should prioritize your health. In addition, the decisions that you make, even the smallest ones, are a manifestation of the fact that you treat yourself with care and respect. When you choose to prioritize your health, You are choosing to prioritize your presence. You make the decision to spend more time with the people you care about, to experience more moments of calm, and to have more strength to appreciate the things that are most important to you. We appreciate you being here with us today. It would be wonderful if you could get in touch with us. Please leave a comment below and tell us about one item you discovered today and how you intend to put it to use in your life right now. We place a high value on your opinions, so please do not be reluctant to share them with us. Our inspiration and encouragement are greatly increased as a result of reading your remarks. I would appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it to be informative and enjoyable. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. We appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we hope to see you in the future video.